Hello, my name is Brad. I've got some interesting recipes, tips, and tricks on things you can do with pantry items that are here available at the Veterans Village in Loma Linda. Let's see what we have this week. This week we had some link sausage, so we're going to be making some biscuits and gravy. I mean, come on, who doesn't love biscuits and gravy? I've been told by many people that my gravy's pretty good, so here's how I make mine. And just a side note, you can substitute the ground pork for any other kind of ground meat. So let's get started. Here's a list of ingredients we'll be using besides the 12 ounces of sausage links that you got from the pantry today. It includes 1 stick of margarine, a half a cup of flour. That's what we're going to need to make our roux. Seasonings, real simple, just a teaspoon of chicken bouillon, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, about a half a teaspoon of black pepper, and then some canned biscuits. I put some melted butter on top, about a teaspoon per biscuit. Let's get busy. All right, we're going to make some biscuits and gravy. So, because these are links, we want to, that's right, I'm a Cowboys fan. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop these up. And I'm going to start chopping them up by, cutting them down lengthwise to get that skin to open up. Otherwise, when we go to cut them, we'll just be cutting circles. And then we'll take these and we'll just kind of chop them up. All right. All right, that looks good. And then we're going to take our pan and turn it on high. There is a decent amount of fat in sausage. You can just fry this in the skillet. Put that in there. But there never seems to be quite enough fat in the sausage to make a roux. And of course, we need a roux to thicken the gravy. So quite a while back, I started adding butter. And I'll kind of like make a butter roux with sausage in it as my base for the gravy. And in case you're wondering what a roux is a thickening agent, which is equal parts of flour and butter. But the butter will help add some flavor to it as well. There we go. Start breaking up this sausage because we want to stretch this. This is 12 ounces of sausage, by the way. 3/4 of a pound. This recipe will take this 12 ounces of sausage and let you feed a whole family. Probably twice the way we're going to wind up finishing it. So our butter's melting. We got this kind of breaking up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and get our flour. Okay. Now that the butter's melted, I'm going to go ahead and add in our half a cup of flour. And of course, it's good to remember to always scrape off the measuring cup with a flat surface, like a knife. So there's our half a cup of flour. Drizzle that in. And just like with all other roux, we're going to want to let this cook for 5 minutes before we start adding in our milk. So we're going to turn this down and we're just going to let this sit for 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes and Gonna go ahead and kind of scrape the sticky stuff off the bottom. The flour is kind of stuck to the bottom of my pan here. I'm not using a non-stick pan. I feel like these pans are better. It's been 5 minutes and we're going to start adding our milk. So we'll add in our milk. And you can see as we stir this up, it's going to start thickening. And you notice I didn't give you the measurement on the milk. It's really hard to tell you exactly how much milk you're going to need. You added about a cup and a half right there. And we're definitely going to need more milk. However, I'm out, so the measurements for this recipe are going to be a little vague. I happen to have some half and half as well. We can add some of that. Actually, the half and half of the cream will just make the gravy that much better, in my opinion. The point I'm trying to make is that sometimes you got to work with what you got. I ran out of milk, had to use half and half. It really doesn't matter too much. It's the ability to adapt and finish the dish, no matter what. I mean, after all, dinner has to be served, right? And we'll just keep adding milk until we get the consistency that we're looking for. Okay, this is obviously way too thick. So we're going to add in a little bit of water. I've got enough cream in there already. Consistency is getting closer to what we want. Actually, that's probably the right consistency there, but this is going to thicken up. We want to let it simmer. I'm on 3 right now. Let this simmer for a good 5 or 10 minutes. Let that flour incorporate into the milk and the other liquids and get its final consistency. In the meantime, I'm going to start adding some seasoning. I always start with a little chicken bouillon. It replaces the salt for me. And we're going to add in a teaspoon. Just a teaspoon. And we'll add a little bit of onion powder. About half a teaspoon of that. For some reason I got to put garlic in everything. So here's my garlic powder. About a quarter teaspoon, just a little bit, just for a hint of garlic flavor in there. And that's going to be the basis of my seasonings. So go ahead and stir this up again. Of course, it's hard to add the seasoning until you know how much you're working with. So we got to get our volume where it needs to be. You know what I didn't have? I don't think I added the pepper. Pepper! Oh my goodness, every good sausage gravy has to have pepper. So we're going to add a teaspoon, maybe half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. Just kind of scraping that flour that sticks to the bottom. Go ahead and use this. Just to make sure we get all that flour off, otherwise it's going to stick and scorch and make your gravy all ugly. Alright. And that's about the consistency you want. We wound up with probably 4 to 6 cups of gravy. Last thing we want to do is taste. I've made this enough times, I know this is going to be spot on. Oh my goodness. Whew, man. I'm a bad man. Whew, my goodness. All right, guys. That'll do it for this one. So all that's left to do is to cook our biscuits according to the directions that are on the can. And then what I like to do is baste them with some melted butter. Butter. Never have enough butter. Anyway, I use about a teaspoon of butter per, I guess. I got one stick of melted butter here in this cup, and I'll use almost all of it. And now, the moment we've been waiting for, it's time to serve. So we'll take our biscuit and cut it in half. Gently place it on the plate. And we'll get a spoonful of that delicious gravy and place it on top there. Looking good. Hey, well, thanks again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it serves you and your family well. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.